Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a focus group of swing voters shows increasing concerns over tactics used by ICE agents. Also tonight, it's that time of year. Spring training is underway. We'll talk to the executive director of the Cactus League. And an iconic Western art museum in Wickenburg is expanding and getting a new name. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A recent focus group of over a dozen Arizona swing voters found that the economy remains a top concern, but actions by federal immigration agents were considered a more pressing and urgent issue. The focus group study was conducted by Engages, a research and messaging firm, and joining us now is the president of Engages and the moderator of the Swing Voter Project, Rich Tao. Rich, good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here, Ted.
Thank you. This was a study group. How many people were involved here, and what was the breakdown? Republicans, Democrats, Independents?
Sure. So these were focus groups, two focus groups of 7 people each. Each lasted 90 minutes. These are all people who voted for Joe Biden in 2020 and then jumped to Donald Trump in 2024.
It sounds like, from what I've read, and we're going to get to some sound bites here quickly, some samplings, but it sounds like these folks want ICE to do the job, just not necessarily the job they're doing.
They very much want ICE to do a job. They want to keep America safe and their neighborhood safe. But they think what's happening now is overreach by ICE, and they want ICE to dial it back.
And this was the vast consensus here?
It was. So there were 14 people in total. 12 thought that ICE was overreaching. 2 thought ICE was doing things exactly the right way.
Interesting. Let's take that sample. We talked about having a sample here of the focus group, and this is what we heard and what you heard a little bit here regarding immigration being, again, not the top concern, but the more pressing and urgent concern.
They're just afraid to go grocery shopping, with fears of running into ICE because, ICE is everywhere.
He can't work anymore. He's afraid to go outside.
My girlfriend's a teacher at a predominantly Hispanic school, and she's afraid that they're going to come on campus.
I know a bunch of Nigerians, and I know people who have been arrested, and it was like, oh, you look like someone that was illegal. And so it's like you have to almost like carry your passports just in case I look like someone who is here illegally.
Yeah, Rich, it's aggressive, out of control. These were words used as well. Any of this surprise you?
Well, it was surprising to me. So what happened was this month we talked to people in Arizona. We found that 9 of the 14 knew people personally. These are the ones they're describing in the clips you just played. People they knew personally who were affected by ICE directly. I asked the same question of Pennsylvania swing voters in January. Only 2 out of 14 there knew anybody personally affected by ICE. So there's a big difference when you have ICE physically present in the neighborhoods of the respondents, how they react versus it being more of an abstraction for the people across Pennsylvania I spoke to a month ago.
Those folks in Pennsylvania, were they as concerned regarding ICE as you heard here from Arizona swing voters?
They were concerned, but not as concerned.
Yeah.
It wasn't as immediate and present for them.
And again, don't want ICE abolished, do want to see ICE reformed.
Absolutely. Yeah. None of these respondents, none of the 14 want to see ICE abolished. I can tell you straight up, if Democrats push for abolishing ICE, it's a complete non-starter with the swing voters they need in November.
Yes, talk about the economy now, Rich, because obviously the immigration issue is big here. And again, as you mentioned, it's no surprise that people would know people, people would have direct contact with ICE agents. But as far as the economy is concerned, we all have contact there. And that remains number one, huh?
It's number one because it affects people directly day by day, and it's their number one worry. For these swing voters, most of them told us that they think the economy is worse now than when President Trump took over last January. So for them, it's an ongoing stress. They're stressed about housing. They're stressed about groceries. They're stressed about healthcare costs. Name it, and they have an economic anxiety about it.
And again, let's go ahead and hear now what you heard from this focus group here in Arizona.
Of all the things that are unaffordable these days, the thing I'm most troubled about being unaffordable is what?
I would say housing.
Groceries.
I think maybe housing.
Groceries.
I'm going to say groceries too.
Groceries.
Healthcare.
Groceries.
Housing.
Housing.
Healthcare.
Cars and transportation.
Rich, again, it's compare and contrast to the other focus groups you've done around the country.
Very similar month over month. Right here in different swing states as I go around the country is basically what you heard there. An ongoing worry that the economy is not working for them. It's the same thing that took down President Biden is now a huge problem for President Trump, which is that inflation would ravage them starting in 2021, 22, and the economy for them has not recovered, and it is as vexing for them now as it's been for the last 3 or 4 years.
And yet the president, the White House, the administration, everyone involved with the administration continues to say that the economy's never been better. Prices are down, stock market's up, et cetera, et cetera. Is that message not getting through to some of these swing voters?
It is completely tone deaf as far as these swing voters are concerned. It was tone deaf when President Biden talked about Bidenomics working, and it's tone deaf when President Trump says things are awesome. They're not for these people, and they live it every day. You can't convince them of something that isn't in their day-to-day experience.
So with that in mind, most disapprove, I would imagine, of the president's job performance overall?
So this month, among the Arizona swing voters, 10 of the 14 said they disapproved of his performance overall, and it was tied to ICE and the economy.
I saw words like disjointed and disappointing as far as the administration's actions are concerned with this particular focus group. That's what you heard as well. True?
Yes, absolutely. They voted for President Trump because they wanted him to use his business acumen to make the economy better. And they thought that Kamala Harris couldn't do it. They thought that he could. And now that he's not, they're struggling.
When you do these focus groups, Rich, and again, obviously you want hard metrics and you want hard information, but when you see the faces, when you hear the voices, what do you get out of that?
I feel the intensity of what they're saying. You know, polling has its place, and this is not a poll, this is a focus group. We're trying to understand what people are thinking, why they feel it, as opposed to how many. So I like hearing the intensity of what people are feeling, both positively and negatively. But when it comes to things like the economy and immigration, these folks are in a very strong state of disappointment.
Those that aren't disappointed, those who think the president's doing a good job or aren't quite as concerned regarding either the economy or immigration, what are they saying?
Well, they're saying, for example, on the economy that they've noticed that gas prices have calmed down. So they're thinking that other things will also drop in terms of pricing or be more affordable for them going forward. And when it comes to ICE, they put a premium on getting people who enter the country illegally out of the country. So they're not drawing the same kinds of distinctions as the people who are unhappy about how the president is doing things. Most of the disappointment is not that the president's trying to achieve the goals he's set forth, it's how he's going about it that these people find problematic.
And these are important people. These are swing voters here. You would imagine that they would be perhaps more amenable to changing again, would you not?
Well, I like to describe these swing voters as being in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. So imagine people who went from voting for Obama to Trump, or Trump to Biden, or Biden to Trump, and then Trump. You know, they're constantly shifting allegiances because they can't find what satisfies them. So there's a huge amount of frustration, and you just sense it month over month over month. I started doing this in March of 2019. So I'm now in my third iteration of this category of swing voters, and they're all basically dissatisfied in one way or the other.
That's really interesting. And last question here, and thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. But going back to 2019 and everything that you've seen, the dissatisfaction with Biden toward the end of that administration, the dissatisfaction with Trump here in the beginning of this administration, is it sharper? Are people willing to, because it's so early in this administration, willing to give it a shot? What do you see? How do you compare?
Well, I saw with President Biden that he was generally well received for the first 4 or 5 months. And then you had Afghanistan and the Delta variant with COVID, and he never recovered with the swing voters I spoke to for the following 3.5 years. And with President Trump, he's been on the downswing now for a number of months, and I don't know whether he'll recover. He seems to be a bit more adept as a politician to be able to move public opinion his way. But keep in mind, for the people I'm talking to, this was not a, oh, I love Trump and I'm voting for him. This was a lesser of two evils choice. It was that way for Biden. It's that way for Trump. And these are folks who just generally are not cutting politicians a huge amount of slack.
Wow, great work. Rich Tao, again, from Gagis, thank you so much for sharing this focus group study and the results and the thoughts. Very interesting. Thanks, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ted.
In this episode, musicians Lizzo and Flea uncover their roots.
What's it like to see that?
I love it.
Please turn the page.
Oh!
We have never seen anything like this. Never.
This is wild.
Someone I never knew. You just feel like you know him a little bit. It's family.
The smallest things had to happen for me to be sitting here today.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad they did.
Tuesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Next time, meet the parents in our oceans. Discover the extraordinary ways they raise and provide for their young in the largest habitat on Earth.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
It launched the age of tall buildings.
The Eiffel Tower was the highest monument in the world.
From obstacles to innovations.
An act of pure audacity.
Building the Eiffel Tower on Nova.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Cactus League spring training games begin this week as over a dozen Major League Baseball teams get the preseason schedule underway. Spring training is a big deal for baseball fans, and it's a big deal for the state, generating hundreds of millions of dollars of economic activity. Bridget Binsbacher is the Cactus League's executive director. She joins us now. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ted. Thanks for having me.
We're always meeting up every time this year.
I know. It's an exciting time of year.
It is. 10 facilities, 15 teams, all in the Phoenix metro area.
Yes, all in the county, within an hour of one another.
How big a deal is that?
It's a huge deal. It's a, last year it was a $764 million direct impact deal.
Yeah.
It's significant. And opening day is Friday, February 20th. It runs through March 24th. So it's fast and furious. And we welcome 1.7 million fans through our gates, these 10 facilities, and it happens really quick.
The fact that it's all in the Phoenix metro area, though, compared to the Grapefruit League, where I know there are some long trips down there.
Yes, there are. So the way we're set up across the valley, you can get from one of our facilities to the other on the opposite end of town within an hour, which is unique to Arizona. And a lot of people don't realize this only happens 2 places in the country.
Yes.
And it's second to none in Arizona because fans can go from a day game to a night game, multiple facilities. We know they're coming for 4 nights on average, and they're seeing multiple games, and then they're visiting all different areas within Arizona.
I want to get to that in a second here,
Okay.
but as far as comparing to Florida and the Grapefruit League, there was competition for a while, there was a little bit of poaching for a while. Has that all settled down?
It's settled down, but we can't take it for granted. We always have to be ready, and that's why we're here to represent the best interest of the industry and serve as a unified voice and tell the story of how important it is to Arizona's economy, because we definitely can't take it for granted. It's a very competitive industry, and the history, there's been times when we've lost teams. we don't want to be in that situation again. So that means really understanding what it means to Arizona and protecting it.
And understanding who exactly is coming here, especially the out-of-state folks
Yes.
that are coming here for spring training games. Give us a better indication of who they are. Again, it's 4 days, you say? They stay 4 days maybe?
On average, 4 days, a party of 3 to 4. And we know that their team brings them here. So they're following their favorite team. They're coming as a result of that, but they're visiting other areas throughout Arizona as well. And in many cases, seeing multiple facilities.
What are they seeing as far as the attractions? The Grand Canyon, do they go as far as the Grand
They're
Canyon?
going to northern Arizona, northeast Arizona, southern Arizona, from one end of the state to the other. And so it's great exposure. Also for 2026, we're going international. So we're welcoming 5 World Baseball Classic teams. They won't be playing World Baseball Classic games, but they're teams coming in addition to the U.S. representing 5 countries.
Where are they practicing?
They'll be playing exhibition games in our stadiums during spring training. So we're looking for, we're going to be basking in the international spotlight at that point and welcoming fans from different countries. So that's going to mix it up. That's going to change things up a bit. So
Does it change things up for you, and does it change things up for the teams and facilities and those sorts of things?
Well, the beauty of our facilities is that, that's where the real work is done. They're ready for business. They're ready to welcome fans no matter what. And so, but we might see new fans and fans from different countries coming that we don't see usually. So that's really exciting. And it puts Arizona, on a global stage.
Yeah.
It's just advertising we can't afford to buy.
We've had a lot of World Series winners in spring training. Cactus League can boast a lot of postseason success.
Yes.
You got the behemoth Dodgers. If you're a Diamondbacks fan, you think of them one way. But boy, if you're a tourism fan, those folks coming over from California, they got to be happy. They got to be spending. They got to be staying. They
are. And the last 3 championships, we've had Cactus League teams. So
Yes.
We're always rooting for a Cactus League team. The last 2, of course, the Dodgers. And, they draw already, but the energy coming off of the regular season, it spills over into spring training.
Yeah.
And we get to benefit from that here in Arizona.
I would be remiss if I'm not asked about the work stoppage, which could happen at the end of the season and could affect CAC. Can you prepare for that? Is that a moving goalpost? What do you do?
We're not part of those discussions, and we are hopeful that they're going to come to a conclusion in plenty of time so that it doesn't affect spring training. And we've seen that, whether it was a pandemic or, past history, we're ready when we need to be ready. Our facilities are ready when they need to be ready to welcome fans in.
So like the rest of us, you got to sit there and watch and just react and see what happens.
Hope for the best, yes.
Bridget Binsbacher, again, Cactus League Executive Director. Where do we get tickets real quickly online?
Go to cactusleague.com. And you can find your facility. We want you to go straight to your facility to buy tickets. All the information.
Cactusleague.com. Very good. All right, Bridget. Good
Thanks.
to see you.
You too.
In the 1770s, when the American Revolution rumbled thousands of miles away, the Gila River flowed wide and strong through what we now call Arizona. For the Alcomadalatam, the river people, the Gila was life. Generations of Alcomadalatam farmers built an intricate network of irrigation canals, including their ancestors, the Hohokam. They harvested from fertile riverbanks and fished in its waters. The river wasn't just a source of food. It was central to ceremony, trade, and identity. But over the next century, change came swiftly. As settlers arrived in the 1800s, upstream dams and diversions began to slow the flow. Much of the Gila's water was claimed before it could reach the Alcomadalatam's fields. The once thriving agricultural system of the river people suffered devastating losses. Through the 20th century, the Gila River was reshaped by reservoirs, canals, and legal battles over water rights. Today, the Gila still flows, but differently. Decades of advocacy has restored some water to the Alcomadalatam, allowing them to revive traditional crops and cultural practices. The river remains a reminder of resilience, adaptation, and the deep ties between water and people in the desert. From a lifeline in the 1770s to a contested resource in modern Arizona, the Gila River story is more than geography. It's a testament to survival. And for the river people, its flow carries the past, nourishes the present, and shapes the future.
The Desert Caballeros Western Museum in Wickenburg has a new name. It's now the Sigler Western Museum, and with the new name comes a big expansion, including a new facility. To learn more, we welcome the museum's executive director, Dan Finley. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you, Ted. You're talking to the happiest museum director in all of Arizona.
You better be. Holy. Okay, let's talk about the Sigler Western Museum and what it is. I know it's a big deal in Wickenburg, but for the rest of us who aren't quite as familiar, what is it?
Well, the Sigler Western Museum is now the predecessor to what was the Desert Caballeros Western Museum. It had been around for almost 60 years. And we decided it was time to expand our buildings. That meant a big fundraising campaign. Specifically, we're building a brand new art museum. And of course, we're out raising money. And we had a beautiful couple step forward with a $20 million gift toward that project.
Holy smokes. Their name is Sigler, isn't it?
Yes, it's Jack and Carrie Sigler.
Yeah.
And longtime residents of Wickenburg.
And if you're a longtime resident of Wickenburg, the Desert Caballeros Western Museum had to be important to you because that was still is social fabric.
Oh my goodness. Wickenburg is a cowboy town through and through. So the museum was really at the heart of that culture, and we're happy to grow it.
And the Siglers are Wickenburg residents?
Yes, they are. Jack and Carrie have been there 20 years, raised their family there. Jack has run a major air conditioning distributorship in this area for many years, but now throughout many states in the West.
Yeah, and $20 million.
Yes.
My goodness.
Right, and I can tell you, I was there to ask him for the money, them asked for the money, and I looked at Jack in this living room, and I said, Jack, we'd like you to do this. He looked at his lovely wife, and he said, I think I'd like to do that. And Ted, it didn't take them 2 minutes to decide. This doesn't get any more beautiful than that.
No wonder you're a happy guy.
I know, I'm a happy boy.
Yeah, let's talk about the expansion path. First of all, this is a museum that emphasizes women Western artists.
Yes. We certainly started out as just overall Western history and Western art, but we have grown through a major initiative we do every year, which is called Cowgirl Up. And that's an art exhibition and sale to celebrate and promote the women artists of the West, which they've always gotten a little short shrift over history. So we have now the greatest collection of Western women's art anywhere. And the building was necessary to provide a new home for that because we think it's time for them to be on equal footing.
Let's talk about the new facility. This is across the street from the existing facility, correct?
Right. It's now a campus.
Yeah, right there in downtown Wickenburg.
Yes, correct.
And expanded galleries will be included?
Right. Expanded galleries and an art pavilion that will be more multi-purpose space. We can have big art exhibitions and shows in there, but it's also available for rental. We can have dinner parties in there. We can have museum lectures, programs, whatever we want. And it's going to be a real asset for the community.
Same architectural firm that designed the Scottsdale Museum of the West. That's a nice building.
Studio Ma, we're delighted to partner with them. They designed the building for us as real partners with us. And I want to give a shout out to our fundraising consultants, Phoenix Philanthropy Group, right here in Phoenix. They helped us all the way, and we're very, very happy with both of them.
And the folks that worked on the Heard Museum, additions at the Heard Museum and the Phoenix Art Museum also involved.
So they're all involved, and it's a great partnership, great for the region, great for Arizona.
You mentioned Cowgirl Up. That's an exhibition and sale. Yes. Obviously, it's a big deal there. Western women artists. Define Western art.
That's a tough question, but there's two components of it. One is Western art is a place, a depiction of the landscapes and the flora and fauna of the West. But there's also the Western spirit that can be reflected in that art. So you put those two things together, and that's what makes Western art special because it speaks to all the values and attributes that really made America great.
Well, it's keeping a heritage and keeping a lifestyle alive, I would imagine.
That's exactly what we need to do. That's what we're doing very, very hard in Wickenburg with the new project.
And as I kind of mentioned, the heart and soul of Wickenburg being the Desert Caballeros and now the Sigler Museum.
Yeah.
It really is, and you mentioned Wickenburg being a Western, it really is, isn't it?
Oh, you bet we are.
Yeah.
We're real cowboys in Wickenburg.
Yeah, but the art museum is well attended, obviously from visitors, and well supported by the town.
Right, we get 40,000 visitors a year currently. So we're hoping with the new building that will even grow that admissions for
What kind of timeline are we looking at here?
Well, the construction will begin within about 6 weeks. They tell us anywhere from 16 to 18 months. So that puts us, perhaps late summer, early fall of 2027.
The old buildings, everything that's on the ground still will be open?
Yeah,
still available?
that will all be open. The plan is we're going to have an art campus, and that'll be the new building. And the current buildings will become the Western History Campus, and that will feature all the artifacts of the American West.
And Cowgirl Up, that exhibition and sale will continue.
You betcha that will, and that's going to go in the new building.
Yeah.
You bet.
Well, Dan Finley again, the Sigler Western Museum. Are you used to saying Sigler Western Museum?
Well, I am. But it's been a little tough. The IRS hasn't figured it out yet.
Oh, well, good luck on that one.
But we will.
Good to have you here, and congratulations on all the success out there. We
Ted.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
When you want to be more adventurous, Arizona PBS delivers the wonders of the world, thanks to financial support from you and
Primavera Online School now offers kindergarten through 5th grade with a project-based